What's up, y'all? This is the Roommate Investor, and today we're going to talk about part 2 of the home building process. As you all know, I'm building my first home. I wanted to document the process along the way. So I've already done all my paperwork with the city. I got my permits. I've done my plans. I've contacted the survey people. I've done everything I need to do to get started. Now I'm ready to start the actual build. The first step I needed to do was contact the survey company and call them out so that they can do something called staking the ground. And basically all this is they're putting some sticks in the ground to let the foundation people know where to start the dig, the perimeter dig for the foundation. So they come out, they stake the corners of the property. They let you know maybe what the elevation would be, where to the setbacks for the property is, and basically like where we can start. It's usually 4 or 5 stakes. Once they came to stake the property, it let my foundation guys know where the perimeter is and that we can start digging. I then called the foundation crew. They started their dig and it took them 1 day to dig the whole perimeter of the foundation. They use an excavator to carry out this process. The price for the total foundation job to not only dig but build the concrete blocks up and to complete the whole foundation and get it ready for framing, the labor price was $9,000. Once the foundation crew finished digging, I then need to call a concrete company, which the foundation crew can call them as well, to get them to come pour concrete into the foundation. This process took about another day, and the price of the material for the concrete was $3,000 for the whole foundation. So we're now at $12,000 so far. Once the concrete dried, we now have a dry concrete, dry land, and we're ready to start the blocking to build the foundation for the property. Basically, we're building the perimeter for the crawl space. All of the blocking material and anchor bolts and everything needed in order to carry out this task was about another $3,000, which brings our total to about $15,000. Now, while we're in these beginning stages of the foundation, you want to make sure you do 2 things. One, you want to make sure you contact Dominion Power early on, basically this same week. You want to get an account going with them because they're going to take 2-3 months. It's only going to take you about 3 months to finish this project. You don't want to wait until you're in to call them, and now you have to wait another 2 months for them to get everything set up. You want to call them right away so they could get the process going, so by the time your home is up, that they're out there and you have power. Another thing you want to do that's very important is order windows during this time, or at least check on the windows and make sure that they're in stock. If you can order them, order them. The reason why is because the windows take 3 to 4 weeks or sometimes even longer, and the framers are going to need the windows to pass your next inspections. So you want to make sure that the windows are going to be on site and there when you're ready. You don't want to finish your foundation and framing and now order the windows, and now you just have the house sitting for 3 weeks not doing anything because you didn't know the windows were not in stock. So you want to call your local lumber place, and not only should you have already called them while this process is going on for your lumber package, just knowing your pricing for the lumber package and just having it all ready to go. So by the time the foundation is done, you pass your inspections, that package could get delivered in order for you to start your build up. The way I did this was I just took the plans to them or emailed them the plans. Then a couple days later, they'll send you back what the pricing is, what the package is, and you can just accept the pricing and package. You don't necessarily have to pay for this package right away because they usually have it all in stock and it's only going to take maybe 2 days or so. You can pay a few days before you're ready just so you can get it delivered around the same time that the foundation is done and the permits and the inspections have passed. But you don't necessarily have to do this. These are crucial steps and crucial planning steps while you're doing the foundation. Going back to the foundation, we're about 15,000 in right now. And one key point I also forgot to mention is that once the concrete pour is done and dried, what you want to do is call the survey company back and get them to put what's called block points. These block points are just basically one block or one marker or a concrete block on the corners of your perimeter wall, and it's an indicator so when your foundation people start to put your blocks on top of the concrete building that perimeter wall, they know where those corners are. Those corners are very key because those are the corners of your property. You can build inside the corners, but the corners is what's most important. Lastly, before the concrete is actually poured, I not only had to do a footer inspection, which is just inspecting the dig and making sure that the dig is at the correct depth before the concrete is poured, but we also had to do a setback inspection. And this is an inspection with the cities just so they can make sure that your property is within the proper limits of the land and that you're not encroaching on any other land. Now your contractors have built up your perimeter wall and you're going to be ready for your next inspection. This is when your foundation people and your framing people kind of have to work together a little bit, because your next inspection is going to be your box inspection, which is basically the whole foundation wall with your floor joists, with the wood. This box inspection, the framers are going to have to put the wood down, connect the wood to the perimeter wall, creating a box. Once the box is created, then you can actually go and get your final inspection before you can start building your house up. So your framer and foundation guy may have to talk a little bit, maybe have some questions and things like that. Maybe y'all all can meet at the property, so on and so forth. Once this box inspection passes, then we're ready to build up. So now we're about $15,000 with your perimeter wall, concrete, labor, and everything for your foundation. And the only thing missing now is usually most houses have some type of brickwork, masonry work as well. In my case, it was the front porch and the corners of the garage. So I also needed to pay about $1,500 for the bricks in order to brick the property for the front porch, the stairs, and near the garage as well, which brings our total foundation cost to around $16,500. Now we have our framing package, which will be in the next video. So just follow along the process, and definitely comment, like, and subscribe, and let me know what you think. And be ready for the next video. We're going to be talking about framing and the framing process.